We're going to be learning to tell the time on a digital clock, which you can see up here on the far right corner. Um, and you're going to be comparing the time on an analog clock, which is this clock face with the minutes hand and the hours hand. And so you're going to be comparing what the time looks like on an analog clock in comparison to what it looks like on a digital clock. Now, you will probably see digital clocks in more places than you will see analog clocks. Quite a lot of digital clocks are on computers, on tablets, phones. People don't generally have an analog clock on on a computer or anything. These are more like the types of clocks that you'd find on a watch or maybe displayed on the wall in your home. Okay, so let's start. So we'll just have a quick refresh, really. So over the last couple of weeks, we've been learning about telling the time on an analog clock. What we learned before is that in between the numbers, this is how we measure the minutes. So every time the large hand moves a notch, that is 1 minute that's passed by. If the large hand moves from one number to the next, that's 5 minutes that's passed by. And if the large hand moves from one quarter to the next, so from the 12 down to the 3, that is 15 minutes that has passed by. So remember that those numbers, which you can see, they have nothing to do with the minutes. They're a way of us knowing how to measure the minutes, but we wouldn't read these numbers as being anything to do with the minutes. They are purely for telling you how many hours have passed by. Okay, so let's just have a quick recap. Well, we've just recapped then quickly, so let's start. In this video, we're going to be learning about telling the time to in 5-minute increments. So that's when 5 minutes has passed by. Okay, so let's have a little look. So we'll start now. At the moment on our digital display, what we can see is the time is 7 no minutes a.m. Okay, now a.m. is the morning. So you just need to remember that. a.m. is the morning time. That is any time from 12 o'clock midnight until 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So when lunchtime begins. So anything from midnight to 11:59 in the morning is AM. The minute it goes to midday, which is 12 at 12 o'clock when people normally have lunch or begin lunchtime, then it changes from AM and goes to PM. And we'll have a look at that and you'll notice it on the display. There are two different ways to tell the time digitally. You could have it as the 12-hour clock, which is what I've just explained then, AM and PM, or the 24-hour clock. We're not going to look at that this week. The numbers are completely different on the digital display. So let's just get used to reading the time with the 12-hour clock first. So at the moment the time is 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's 7:00 minutes a.m. 7 in the morning. So 7 a.m. Let's just move it to the 1. Now the time has changed. It's 7:05 a.m. We would tell, even though we were looking at this digital display, we could say it's 7:05, but we could also say it's 7:05 from looking at that. And that's the time that it would tell us on the analog clock. Let's move it again. Another 5 minutes has passed by. On the digital display, we could say it is 7:10. Or if you want, you can also say 7:10. They both mean exactly the same thing. It's just how you would read it on the digital display and how you would write it as an analog time. Okay, let's move it 5 more minutes. Now it is 7:15 or 7:15. Both of those are correct answers. Okay, when you're looking at this clock, the analog clock, generally the time we're looking for is past 2 and o'clock. Okay, so you would read the time saying it's 7:15, it is 5 past. On a digital clock, you could just say it's 7:15. or 7:15. So let's count in digital clock time. So looking at the digital display up here, remember every time it moves, it's 5 minutes added on. So counting in your 5 times tables is going to really help you in this instance. Okay, so let's start back from 7. So 7 o'clock, 7:05, 7:10, 7:15, 7:20, 7:25, 7:30, 7:35, 7:40, 7:45, 7:50, 7:55, and 8 o'clock. 8:05, 8:10, 8:15, 8:20, 8:25, 8:30, 8:35, 8:40, 8:45, 8:50, 8:55, 9 a.m., 9:05, 9:10, 9:15, 9:20, 9:25, 9:30, 9:35, 9:40, 9:45, 9:50, 9:55, 10 o'clock. So you've noticed probably that unlike the analog clock, when we read the time digitally, we don't really say how many minutes it is to, how many minutes it is past. We would generally read it as it is on the digital display, using your 5 times tables to help. It's really your own preference. If somebody asks you the time and you have a digital watch and you read the time out to them, it's up to you how you read it out to them. As long as you know both ways, okay? So as long as you can tell the time analog and digital, it doesn't matter how you explain it to somebody. So for example, if I was to ask you the time and this was the time, you have a digital watch, you check and you say 10:40, then that's fine. I would understand that 10:40 means 20 to 11, okay? And if you were to read the time to me and you had an analog watch and you were to say the time is 10 to 1, in my head I would know, oh, okay, so that makes it 12:50 in the afternoon. I hope you found this video useful, and just remember you're using your 5 times tables to read the time in digital. Just a recap on what we've just covered. So when you're reading the time in digital, you use your 5 times tables to count. You do not need to say to and past and o'clock. Really what we're looking for, what I'm looking for is that you understand that those minutes, you would read them after you've read the hour out. So it would be 1 and then how many minutes it is. So you read it in order of how you see it. And that you know that when 5 minutes has passed by, that means that the big hand is on the 1 on an analog clock. So really that's what you're learning today, is to know that when it's 5 minutes, when it's 10 minutes, where would that big hand be on the big clock if you needed to explain. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. Any questions, send me a little message.